Here's a photograph out of a book, as you can see, of the Valley of Ayalon with the sun. That's the place where it happened, where the sun stood still. Now, what do we make of that? I'm going to read you something written by Mr. Harold Hill, the president of the Curtiss Engine Company of the United States, a consultant in the American space program. I think one of the most amazing things that God has for us today happened recently to our astronauts and space scientists at Greenbelt, Indiana. They were checking the position of the sun, moon, and planets out in space, where they would be 100 years and 1,000 years from now. We have to know this in order that we don't send up a satellite and it collides with something later on one of its orbits. We have to lay out the orbit in terms of the life of the satellite and where the planets will be so that the whole thing will not go wrong. They ran the computer measurements backwards and forwards over the centuries, and it came to a halt. The computer stopped and put up a red signal, which meant that there was something wrong, either with the information fed into it or with the results as compared with the standards. They called in the service department to check it out, and they said it's perfect. The head of the operation said, "What's wrong?" "Well, we found there's a day missing in space in elapsed time." They were puzzled and there seemed no answer. Then one man on the team remembered he'd been told at Sunday school of the sun standing still. They didn't believe him, but as no alternative was forthcoming, they asked him to get a Bible and find it, which he did in the book of Joshua chapter 10. The spacemen said, "There's the missing day." Well, they checked the computers going back into the time it was written and found it was close, but not close enough. The elapsed time that was missing back in Joshua's day was 23 hours and 20 minutes, not a whole day. They read the Bible again, and then it said in Joshua, about a day. These little words in the Bible are important, but they were still in trouble, because if you can't account for 40 minutes, you will be in trouble 100 years from now. 40 minutes had to be found because it can be multiplied many times over in orbits. Then it was this same man remembered somewhere in the Bible, it said that the sun went backwards. And the spacemen told him he was out of his mind, but they got out the Bible and found how Hezekiah on his deathbed was visited by the prophet Isaiah, who told him that he was not going to die. And Hezekiah asked for a sign. And Isaiah said, "This sign shalt thou have of the Lord, that the Lord will do the thing that he hath spoken, and the shadow shall go forward 10 degrees or go back 10 degrees. And Hezekiah answered, "It is a light thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees. Nay, but let the shadow return backward 10 degrees. And Isaiah cried unto the Lord, and he brought the shadow 10 degrees backward, by which it had gone down on the sundial of Ahaz." 10 degrees is exactly 40 minutes. So 23 hours and 20 minutes in Joshua plus 40 minutes in 2 Kings make the missing 24 hours.